Yes, you have fun, but there's more to it. So you send a message from California to New York City. So the drummers had to say the same thing. If someone said Inisoma, which is good morning in Malinke, the next guy's got to say the same thing. The same message, not, oh, what's up? No, it doesn't cut it. See, so the drummers effectively originally were trained. So when you know that, you just understand there's different ethnic groups, a lot of different ethnic groups, but the drummers had enough knowledge to go between them. So if I say to Nagadef Mangavirak Nakasafer, that's Wolof. If I say to Ishalafia ni Wawa, it's Yoruba. If I say Kedu, it's Igbo. If you start going through Mbote, Congolese, you have to hear language. And when you hear the language, it makes more sense to you rather than, oh, just play the drum. You don't beat drum. You don't beat your wife, you don't beat the kids, you don't beat the drum. You play the drum. See? So when you know how to get the sound with, let's say, one hand. So when you train yourself, when you're saying something, you actually can do, the language is in the drumming. The difference was that in the colonization of the so-called world over here, about 400,000 African people got to America. I don't know how many got in the ocean. But between 8 to 12 million went to Puerto Rico, Cuba, Central America, South America. Nosotros hablamos en español. You understand what I said? 8 to 12 million went to South and Central America speaking Spanish mostly. So over here, if you drum outside of Congo Square, New Orleans, you might get hurt. You might get punished. You might get beat. And you had to pay $25. And how did we have $25? No. So you had to see the difference between, so that's why in America people put it here, there, swap, rap, and put it in their voice instead of necessarily playing the drum. But if you combine the two, you have it all. So everything you hear that they call wawango, rumba, rumba is a word over here, rumba, because they couldn't say chumba, the TCH sound, which is in Congo. So when you start going between languages, it's different. Congo with a K, Congo, Ba Congo, Mbote, Sanguanine, Jinalaganin. So you hear it in a language that sound like people singing to you. They are. But when you know the language more, it makes more sense to you. So when you start knowing that, you can actually put things into rhythm and help people, heal people, do what you want. But that's deeper knowledge than most people have. They're just playing to amuse themselves. But when you hear it correctly, I could put 2,000 drummers here right next to you and never hurt your eardrum. I can take one guitar and tune it in such a way that it's off and make your ear bleed. So realize the difference between, I'll say, if you want to say harmonious or organic sound and electrified stuff. That's the difference. So I can put the drums all here. I could sit at a table and put that man in the middle and put 50 drums that won't hurt his ear. One guitar, the wrong way, you could bleed. So sound, people think sound is just something to be taken for granted. You have a subatomic particle. Then you have an atom, a molecule, a cell, an organism, a body. And everything has frequency, vibration, rhythm. 1 second, something went from your toe to your head. 1 second, something went from not only her toe to her head, but 75,000 miles in space, and nothing bumped into each other and said, get out of my way. That's what we don't realize. So you realize how much harmony there is in the universe at a atomic, if you start talking about just the physics of it. That's what's really going on. So it's in the language, it's in the sound, it's in the culture. So with that, I say Nagadef Mangefirek. My name is Abdulatif Botonkara. For those who want to know what it means, Abdul in Islamic means blessed servant of God. So you have Abdul Razak, Abdul Karim, Abdul Karim, Abdul everything. You'll get tired of hearing Abdul. But when you know the second part, Latif means the blessed one. It was a prophet, so Abdul Latif literally means the blessed one. Here, people don't know. Before I came in, some lady who happened to be Cajun, I love your name. I laughed because you don't know what I said. I could have said booger to you. You don't know what I said. But they like the vibration of it. See? So when you know that, Bell is from the name of the royal family Cameroon. Tunkara comes from the name of the royal family Mali. So if you know somebody's complete name, they're telling you a heritage. If they're telling you a heritage. So when you start going between the names anywhere in Africa, you start saying where he's from, where they're from, or what their family meant, and why they named him or her, whatever that is. It's not just, we had nothing else to do, so we named you Jane. No. It happens here, but not quite the same way. So people are doing it. When you have the knowledge, it makes a difference. So the knowledge of what you're doing in the drumming is the knowledge of everybody in the world, as far as I know. I quote myself, that way you can't argue, right? So as far as I know, everybody in the world had a mama. And everybody, whether you Japanese, Chinese, German, heard this. 9 months, you heard your mother's heartbeat. If I take it down to the molecular level, that same rhythm is there. I put you in the dirt, you're going to hear that. So the universe repeats things again and again. So when you start saying, what is sound? When your body's in harmony and you're healthy, the sounds in your body are aligned. When you don't feel good, you're out of harmony. Your body's trying to tell you something. We're busy, so you go take the drug, fine. It masks it, but it doesn't heal it. So you have to get yourself aligned. So sound. If I told you the azan, which is the Muslim call to prayer, if you say it correctly, it aligns everyone in your chakra. I don't know if you want to hear it. It goes like this. Allahu Akbar. When you say it right, what is the A sound? If I said you to your Yoruba, Ishe Baba mi lori mi, Ishe Baba mi lori mi, Oshe Baba mi, Olorume Baba Oshe Baba Nafea, O me Baba Rumepe. I basically said, if I take it into English, God is working on me, bless God, God bless you, God bless this, God bless that, God bless everything. So there's prayers that are said, and sometimes every prayer in the world was sung. You had to sing it. There wasn't no book to read. That's what people forget. No, somebody had to know it. So it was passed on the same as you had things passed on here with your mouth. So you had to be careful of what came out your mouth. See? It ties in. It's not separate. And that's what the disconnect is if you want to know. Any questions? That's how they said in Texas, questions. So I learned that. Okay, that's it. I'll play drum for a minute, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
We're going to start to serve lunch. You're going to continue to play the African drum beautifully, and we're going to have a good time. Amen? Let's do this. So you can identify the New Life Community Ministries staff. You're going to exit that back door, and lunch is being served. Grab your plate and come on back to the activity center. Okay? Enjoy your lunch.
Good afternoon. At this time, we would like to introduce to you the Tulare Kings County Mass Choir with their first selection.
Good afternoon, everybody. We're just so happy to be here, and we thank God and thank the Dodsons for having us to come and sing. This is just half of us. I'm glad the others didn't come because they couldn't all get on the stage. But we're going to sing one selection right now. The song said, "It is well in my soul. Whatever my lot, God has taught me to say, it is well." Please receive Derica Harris.
It is well.
Let's give it up one more time for that choir, for that beautiful selection. My name is LaRon Dodson, and I am the host, and just want to send a welcome out. We appreciate you coming out for spending this time with us to celebrate our Black History Month and heritage with some wonderful awards that we're giving away. To listen to this beautiful choir give us a number of selections. And just to celebrate everything that is Black history. And at this time, we will head to hear another selection. It's all you.
Song says, he'll keep you in perfect peace if you keep your mind stayed on him. Amen. I know you guys are enjoying the wonderful food, but y'all can have a little church too, can you? Y'all have a little church. It's all right. Clap your hands. It's all right. Yeah, everybody has on their little nice fineries and tires and so on, but still you can praise God in your nice dresses and suits. Isn't that all right? The song says, he'll keep you in perfect peace. All right. soprano. Everybody, he's the king. He's the keeper. Yes, he is. 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 Oh, keeper. Keeper. In the morning. Save your soul. Yes, he is. He's a keeper.
Been in a few minutes with Keandra backstage, and one thing I can tell you is that she's never been to the Central Valley, let alone Tulare, California. Never knew where Tulare was. And she gave me an experience about her driving through and seeing cows and seeing the things that we see every day. So without further ado, before I bring Keandra up, can we please stand to our feet and welcome Miss Keandra Jackson to Tulare, California?
Hello, everybody. Am I good on the mic? Oh, there we go. Hi, everybody. So if y'all don't know me by now, my energy is on a 10. So the more energy that I give y'all, I want y'all to give that same energy back to me, right? Because I came all the way from Los Angeles, California to be here with y'all in a city that I never heard of. When Tamara hit me up, I said, what is it? I literally said, Tulare. I said, what is this? I had to Google on my phone in order to figure out where you guys were, and I found that you guys were literally about 3 hours away from me. So I'm excited to be here. Not only am I excited to be here, but I'm excited to talk about mental health, right? And come on, yes. And I'm excited about this because we don't get a chance to I don't get a chance to talk in spaces like this too often, right? Not only am I talking to people of color, but I'm also talking about this in a church setting. And this is actually something that's brand new, so shout out to the pastor. Come on, stand up. Come on, real quick. You know, it's so powerful. I had a few words with him backstage, and we were just kindred spirits, and I'm so excited that he has brought this platform. So today I'm going to be talking about mental health. Today's discussion, and I'm going to try to stick to my time because they told me that I only got a certain amount of time, and I like to talk because I'm a therapist. So today we're going to be talking about mental health 101, just basically what that is. We're going to tap on what mental illness is. We're also going to be talking about knowing when something is wrong and how to identify some of the symptoms that you may be experiencing. We're gonna talk about ways to manage your life, and I'm gonna give you guys some positive coping skills. And we're also going to have a little bit of conversation about where to seek services, because oftentimes people do not know where to look, how to look. They don't know that therapists like me exist. That's black. That's bliggity black. That's from Compton, California. Listen, I got one. Come on. I met her backstage. She's from Compton. Oh, we got 2. We got 3. Come on. 3 people from Compton. I'm excited. So black therapists like me exist. We're out here. We're thriving. We're doing the work and all of those things. So I'm not sure if you guys are aware of this, but 1 in 5 people in the United States will suffer from some type of mental health issue. Did you guys know that? 1 in 5. So I'm not sure if we can do this real quick because I know y'all eating. But I know there's probably about 5 people at your table. So if one person real quickly can stand up from each table real quick, just all over the room. One person from each table. Come on, y'all. I told y'all my time is limited. Some of y'all not standing up. I see you. You're not invisible. I know some people are not able to stand up, so I'll respect that. So if you guys look around the room, just take a look around. If this was indicative of the United States population, this is who would have mental health issues. Not saying you in particular or you in particular, but I'm saying 1 in 5 people will experience some type of mental health issue. So you guys can have a seat. And this gets a little bit trickier, or it hits home a little bit more when we put it into perspective, right? And so when that 1 in 5 is your mama, is your cousin, is your mother-in-law, is your child, is an employee, is a church member, the 5th person on your row at church, working in your workspace, it hits home a little bit closer when you personalize it, right? Because when you think about things, in the Black community, I'm not going to go there. I'm skipping ahead. But in the Black community, we typically don't talk about issues like we should. And that's why this information is so powerful. This is another statistic that I wanted to share with you guys. 50% of mental health issues will begin by age 14. I want that to soak in just a little bit. Because when people say, oh, he or she been like that, it's fine. Most of the time, they've been dealing with this stuff since they were 14. Right? It don't just come out the blue, right? You don't just pop up one morning and just be like, oh, I'm dealing with something. A lot of this is rooted all the way from adolescence. And so it's become so normalized, or it becomes a part of who we are, that we don't even know that it's actually an issue. And we're going to dive into that a little bit more today. So I wanted to give you guys this. Mental health or mental illness does not respect any person, any boundary, any race, ethnicity, geographical location, your socioeconomic status. I see a few people taking notes, which is awesome. I love it. It has no preference on your sexual orientation or your religious preference. So that means mental health issues, they disrespectful. Like we like to say as millennials, it's disrespectful. So that means you can be tall, short, fat, big, skinny, come from the projects, come from money in your mouth, be dark-skinned, be light-skinned, have a beard, don't have a beard. It doesn't matter. Mental health issues do not care about any of that, and it comes in different shapes, sizes, and forms. And to be honest with you, for us people who are of the melanated persuasion, meaning people of color, our Black and brown people, we experience issues on a whole different level and a deeper level. And it's oftentimes that we aren't the ones who want to go seek help because of how we've been treated historically and systemically in our community, right? Oh, y'all gonna keep it real with me? Okay, because there has been so many different accounts in our history of when we weren't treated like we should have been. I can name 1,000,001 situations, but what comes to mind for me when I was thinking about this was like the Tuskegee experiment. Anybody know about the Tuskegee experiment? Right? When there were individuals, specifically African-American males, who were not treated for syphilis when there was a cure available. So that's just one example of how many times either our government or our healthcare system has failed us. And this is one of the reasons why we're so apprehensive and we don't trust people and we mistrust and distrust the system because of situations and circumstances like that. And those are all valid. Let's be clear. Those are great, I can't say great reasons, but those are valid reasons to not necessarily mistrust individuals or people. But what I have found was, can you go back to the other slide for me? The previous one? Thank you. But what I have found was those are some of the reasons why we're not seeking help like we should. When something is wrong, we don't really tap into what needs to be done in order to make sure that we are healthy and whole. And this creates a generational pattern a generational cycle. And that's why we have this superwoman or superman complex where we can do it all and be it all, and that's the furthest thing from reality. Anybody know who Charlemagne the God is? A few people. If you guys don't know, he's one of the co-hosts on The Breakfast Club. And I think it was back in 2018 or 2019, he actually went live on VH1 with the therapist and did a full therapy session. Did you see that? I see you shaking your head. I don't know if y'all know how powerful that is, but a black man on national television had a full-blown therapy session. We don't even want therapists to know our business in session in a small room, let alone on a national scale. So what he did was he broke down a number of barriers. Because one, he showed the world that black people go to therapy. Specifically, black men go to therapy. And it's okay to process and talk about the issues that you have going on, right? You don't have to keep everything inside. While I was so excited about that, because y'all know I'm all for mental health, I was like, woo, woo, we got a black man on TV in therapy, like, yes. When I read through those comments and saw what people, and people from all different walks of life, what they said about it, I was perplexed. These are some of the things that I saw. Next slide. I'm trying not to laugh because I'm sure some of you guys have heard or have said, let's be honest, have said some of these things. Let's be clear, right? What goes on in this house, stay in this house. You can't tell me Big Mama ain't never said, you better not say nothing to nobody about this, right? But that talks about how we have this perception as black and brown people to keep everything inside, keep everything at home. You better not tell nobody, right? So we grow up thinking that that is okay behavior, and then when something not so good happens to us, right, we think it's abnormal if we talk to somebody about it. Since we're in a church setting, just pray about it. How many people heard or said that before? Like, nah, just pray about it, right? Now, I'm a believer, and I'm saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Spirit, all of that, right? Let's be clear. Let's be clear. Don't let this professional stuff fool you. I can get down with the best of them, right? I can shout and all that. But oftentimes, we minimize people's issues when we tell them just to pray. I firmly believe that God can heal, He can restore, and He can do anything that we want Him to do. He absolutely can do that. But sometimes, and many times, God raises up people like me to walk people through some of the most difficult times in their life. I can't tell you how many times I have been on my office floor with the client crying, literally with them, because God has gifted me with that empathic nature of literally walking through and helping people process and go through their healing. And so I want y'all to know that you can pray and go see a therapist. You can believe in Jesus and go see a therapist. You can do both. You ain't got to do one or the other. You can have both. Just like you would go to a doctor. God has gifted those people with the capacity to help you. Same thing goes for us in those spaces, in these spaces. The next one is you'll be fine. It's not that bad. We minimize people's issues. Like I mentioned before, it's fine. It's all good. Therapy is a waste of money. Now, I'm not going to lie. My rate is my rate. And I may not be the cheapest, but sometimes you can't have the cheapest and the best all at the same time. Sometimes you got to choose. You want the cheapest or you want the best? I'm just saying. But we're going to talk about some reasonable resources. Y'all laughing. I'm just keeping it real. I told y'all I keep it real. But we're going to talk about some reasonable resources for people who can't necessarily pay out of pocket for higher rates for therapy. Black people don't get depressed. That is a lie from the pits. You guys have no idea. When I wrote my book, Staying Sane in an Insane World, it's out there, for you guys to purchase today. When I wrote that book, I did a lot of research on specifically celebrities who have had mental health issues. And my mind was blown, y'all. I'm talking about blown. You have no idea what people go through on the inside, and they may look all glitz and glamoury on the outside. You just never know. The next one is we don't tell people all our business. Don't tell all your business to a stranger. That kind of goes back to the idea of what goes on in this house stays in this house, right? That's another misconception. And here's my favorite one. And I'm sorry if there is any Caucasian people in the house today, but therapy is for white people. Y'all know, behind closed doors, we have said or have heard that for sure. But it also goes back to just what I was saying a minute ago when I was saying we have this mistrust and this distrust of our healthcare system because of how we've been treated historically and systemically. So let me be honest, absolutely, Caucasians have been going to therapy way longer than we have. For real, they'll go to therapy in a minute. They like, oh, I scraped my knuckle, let me go to therapy, I'm traumatized. You know, like they will go there in a minute. And that's not anything bad. That's not anything bad at all. But we can't put a race thing on this, right? When you have an issue, you have an issue. I don't care if you black, white, brown, whatever the case may be, therapy is not just for white people. Next slide. Let's get into kind of what mental health is, because I know there are some people who don't necessarily know what it is, and you kind of like, we talking about this thing, but I don't really know the definition. So for the people who's taking notes, mental health includes so many different facets of who we are. It includes our emotional, our psychological, and our social well-being. Tell them, baby. Come on, tell them about mental health. Yes. But it really includes how we think, how we feel, how we act, and it also determines how we handle stress and how we relate to other people. This is a quick and dirty definition. Like, this is what mental health is at its most basic level. But if you don't know how your mental health plays into other aspects of your life, you are doing yourself a huge, huge disservice. If your mental health is not right, nothing else gonna be right. Your relationship, come on, I told you I'm a relationship expert. I see y'all. So many different components. Everything is interconnected and interrelated. Next slide, please. Things become a little tricky, and it falls into the mental illness category when things get a little bit off kilter, right? This is when your brain doesn't function like it's supposed to function in its highest level. So this is when we have disruptions in how we think, how we feel, how we communicate, and how we behave with other people. We have seen so many examples of this in movies, right? Where we would say, ooh, that person crazy? They doing crazy stuff, they saying crazy stuff, they see hallucinations, they think the alien's gonna come down and get us. All of that is literally mental illness. And, okay, I'm gonna say it, Holy Spirit. Sometimes we get confused with mental illness and spiritual warfare. We're not gonna go there today, because this ain't that kind of situation, but I felt led to say that sometimes those two are not always the same, and we have to do a little bit more understanding of what those two are before we just label somebody as they possess, they demonic, they blah, 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 right? And it could be that, let's be clear. Sometimes it is a situation that we gotta get the Holy Spirit on that, but sometimes it's not, right? And when we have a deeper understanding of these things, the whole trajectory changes. Next slide. In working in some of these spaces, I find that two things typically happen. Because we're going to talk a little bit about how do you know when something is wrong? Because I can guarantee by the time I leave here, there's going to be somebody who pulls me to the side and says, Keandra, I needed that. Keandra, something has been a little bit off on the inside of me. Haven't been able to pinpoint what that thing was, but when you talk today, I know now that I need to seek some type of help. So one thing I've learned is that most people don't even know a problem exists before they can even solve it. Like I mentioned before, since 50% of us who experience mental health issues experience them by the age of 14, it's normal to us. Especially if you're 30, 40, 50, 60, and you've been dealing with something since you're 14, that's your normal life. You don't think anything's wrong with you. This is how I've been for decades, right? And then there's another group of us. I know it's a little cut off, and you guys can't see it here, but there's some of us who's just plain straight up in denial. Let's be real. They like, I know I got a problem, but it ain't that big of a deal, you know. I might cuss some people out every now and then. And I beat up a few people, been in jail a few times, but you know what I'm saying. It's not that bad. It's like, really, sis? Really, bro? You need some help, right? But there's a group of us that's in denial. And once we get out of that denial state, that's when we start the healing process. That's when that breakthrough comes on. So next slide. Oh, man, this is kind of dark. It's all good. So here are some examples, because I want to give you guys, one thing about me is I like to give people practical, tangible things that they can walk away with. I was talking to a pastor about this. He was like, I need the how-to. Don't just talk to me in theory. Let's break it on down. And so here are some examples or some things that you can kind of tap into yourself to see if you do any of these or you have any of these. And this could be an indicator that something is wrong. Feeling extreme anger or worry. Relationship difficulties. Isolation, meaning you trying to, not be around people. You love, enjoy being in your room and being away from people. You have no desire to go to work or school. Extensive grief or loss, which means someone may have passed away or something like that, and you're still dealing with it past a certain point. You're having frequent bouts of crying. You don't even know why you're crying. You're just like, I just wake up, my tears be flowing. Something's not right. Reckless behavior. We're out here turning up, right? Doing all of this in the club, spending all our money, gambling, all of that, reckless behavior. Eating too much or too little. We're going to talk about that too a little bit. Use of alcohol and drugs. Now, let's be clear. A little wine. All right, y'all not waiting for me to keep it real. If you want to have a little wine with your dinner or whatever, feel free, There's no condemnation in that. But I'm talking about when things are overdone, right? Changes in your sex drive or your libido. And then also if you're sleeping too much or too little. These are signs, just some quick signs for you to tap into. And if you identify with any of those, you ain't got to raise your hand. You don't have to do any of those things. Or if you know somebody who's dealing with some of this stuff, because we all got one person in our family, that crazy uncle, that crazy cousin, that's like, yo, she or he is all of those things at once, right? But this is just some tangible examples for you to tap into. Next slide. Now, oftentimes some of the things that I just mentioned to you guys can fall into one or two categories. Thank you, Tamara. Can fall into one or two categories. It can be either situational or biological. Let me break down the two for you. Situational is kind of when you are going through life transitions. You may experience some of the things that I just mentioned on that previous slide because you lost a family member or there was a death, right? And that's a natural grieving process. Or you just had a baby. Or you are transitioning and going to college. Or you had to leave and find a new job or something of that nature. Some things just put you in a certain category and it's situational, which means once that situation calms and settles a little bit, you'll be good. Now, the other thing is biological. And that means some of us are predisposed to having mental health issues because it runs in our family. I want you to think of it in this capacity. A lot of us, black and brown, we got diabetes, we got high blood pressure, right? Cancer sometimes run in our family. When you look at those things from a biological perspective, you know that if that runs in your family, you have a higher risk of getting that as well, right? It doesn't mean that you will, but it means, okay, man, diabetes runs in my family. Let me calm down on the cakes and the pies and the sweet potatoes and the brownies and the ice cream. Let me calm down on that so I won't have those issues, right? And so the same thing applies to mental health. If your grandmother or your great-grandmother had depression, the chances of you having it goes up. So I want you to be aware. And sometimes when we're dealing with previous generations, the older generations, we didn't have all these labels of depression and, bipolar, and we didn't have all of those labels, right? And so sometimes those people had issues, but they never got a proper diagnosis, or they didn't even know. So if you know your grandma was off the rocker a little bit, and it's a joke in your family like, grandma was cray-cray, there might be a biological component that you got to tap into. Next slide. I love this quote by Dorothy Thomas. It says, "Peace is not the absence of conflict, but the ability to cope with it." That's good to me. I don't know if it's good to y'all. I'm going to say it again. Peace is not the absence of conflict, but the ability to cope with it. So that means, how do we cope with things when stuff happens? So we're going to talk about ways to manage life. Next slide. When we talk about ways to manage life and ability to cope with stuff, life will throw you a curveball at any given moment. How many people was expecting Kobe Bryant to die? Not one person. Can we agree that that was a smooth curveball? Woke up in the morning like, what? Quit playing. People play too much on social media. Knock it off. And I'm like, whoa, no, this is real life, right? So life can sometimes throw us curveballs that are unexpected and unavoidable. And so how we manage our mental health is built and sustained on what we do daily with those stressors, not what happens when everything piles up on our plate and then we're trying to do something about it, right? It's how we do it daily, how we manage it on a regular basis. So each person handles stress differently, and over time we develop certain strategies that we think or feel is normal or safe. When we've been doing something for a long time, we like, yeah, that's normal, that's safe. But remember I said, at age 14, is when a lot of people struggle or begin having mental health issues. Next slide. So we cope with things in two different ways. We can either cope positively or negatively with something. And when we cope positively with something, that's the area that you want to be in, of course. But sometimes it requires more investment of your time and of your energy. So if you want to write in your journal, that means you got to designate time and energy and block off everything else that's happening in your life to write in your journal. If you want to take a vacation, go get a mani, go get a pedi, go get a massage. It takes time and sometimes money to cope positively with things. But on the flip side, a lot of us don't know how to cope positively, and we tend to cope negatively. And that's the time when we get into those quick fixes. Quick fixes that have adverse, long-term impact and effects. That's when we tap into the drinking. That's when we tap into the drug use. Or that may not even be your thing, but overeating might be your thing, right? When you get that overeating, that emotional eating, that's the whole thing, right? And those have negative, adverse effects long-term that can not only affect us, but it could affect your spouse, your children, your work, your business, or whatever, and affects those that are around you. Next slide. So I want to leave you guys, again, I'm tangible. I want to leave you guys with some positive coping skills. And what I love about this list is that it's free. It's free 99. You ain't got to go and buy none of this stuff and be like, Keandra done had me spending $300 on a coping skill. That's not what this is. This is free. So that means you can do things like take deep breaths, take a quick walk around the block, stand up and stretch, cook or bake. I love to cook. That is so therapeutic for me. Use positive affirmations like, I'm beautiful, I'm strong, I can do this. Watch a good movie, listen to music, laugh, pop bubble wrap. I did that this week. I don't know why Amazon sent me this big old box for this little product that was this big, and they gave me a whole bunch of bubble wrap. I was like, what am I gonna do with this? And I was like, I'm about to pop it. So I was like, pop, 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 pop. And I forgot how fun it was. You know, sometimes we have to get back to that childlike mentality, right? And kind of just tap into some of those things. Give somebody a hug, write in a journal, or watch a funny video. When I get down, my first place to go to is Instagram. I know, I'm a millennial, I'm working on it. But sometimes watching a funny video will kick me out of that mood. So my time is dwindling down, so let's go, next slide. So some of you guys are wondering, okay, this all sounds nice, Keandra, this mental health stuff, but I want to give you guys some places that you can tap into actually reaching for services or knowing when to get services for yourself or for one of your loved ones. And so, of course, the county, I believe, because I'm from Los Angeles, but the county of Tulare, y'all better correct me, okay? Tulare, I'm still learning, has sponsored this event. So of course there are local, types of mental health services, community-based services, nonprofits. I'm sure the Department of Mental Health are places that you guys can, reach out for services here. And I found a few that people don't even know. So one, most of you guys can get free mental health services from your employee assistance program. Every job, I can't say every job, but mostly jobs, especially big companies, you can go to HR and they will literally give you 3, 6, 10 free counseling sessions. I bet y'all didn't know that, huh? You just learned something. So your EAP, tap into that. Next one is your health insurance companies. If you have health insurance, you will be able to get a list of providers local to you who will be a good fit for you for individual or couples or family therapy. And it's cut off here, but we kind of talked about this before, you can also pay out of pocket, which means you pay your own money to get mental health services. Next slide. Here's some of my favorite resources, y'all. And if you ain't took one note today, you might as well whip your phone out and take a picture of this slide, because these are game changers. There is directories that are specifically for us, meaning there are directories where there's only Black clinicians if you're looking for a culturally sensitive clinician. So therapy for Black girls, all Black clinicians, I'm on there. Hey, y'all can see me on there. Therapy for Black men.org. That's another list of all Black clinicians for males. Open Path Collective, one of my favorites. This is not an all Black clinician, but they offer free to low-cost therapy services, literally $30 to $60. I'm just saying, that's just cheap. And then the last one is for our LGBTQ-sensitive crowd, National Queer and Trans Therapists of Color Network. That's a list of clinicians as well for that. So, next slide. Before I wrap up, I can't say never, but I rarely speak without giving away a free gift. And so if you text MENTAL to this number, 323-307-7721, you will be provided a free mental health checklist. And it's basically a checklist for yourself that you can give to that friend or that family member that's like, go ahead and take this to see where you at with it. But it will help you manage your own mental health and for those that are around you. So that is my time. Next slide. I was going to do a Q&A, but they told me not to. So I just wanted to tell you guys you can stay connected with me on social, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and I will be here for the rest of this amazing event. So come say hey to me, take some selfies, and let's further the education on mental health. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Keandra. And before you leave, like she said, she'll be hanging out with us for the rest of the day. She brought her new book, Reach Your Greatness, right here. She has copies out there. If you want to take a look, I'm sure she'd be fine signing that for you. And a lot of the material that you saw here on the slideshow will be posted on our Facebook at New Life Ministries. So if there is something that you see that you liked and you want to take it home and use that, be our guest, okay? At this time, we are going to get into our Heritage Awards.
All right, y'all, this is our time to celebrate some amazing people in our county. Can we get excited? I don't know if you know it, but Tulare County is rich in heritage. We're rich in people that have done some amazing things, and we're going to celebrate them, all right? So the first person is going to be Mr. Willard Epps. Willard Epps was the first African-American Tulare City Fire Chief. Major accomplishment. He served as Tulare City's Council's school board member, as the interim city manager of Tulare, and his commitment to serving the community is outstanding. Would you agree? Our next awardee, Mr. Carlton Jones. Carlton was elected to city council and was the first African American to serve as mayor of the city of Tulare. He continues to reach new heights and ways to connect to his community. Mr. Douglas Hurt. Mr. Hurt is an attorney at law who has tirelessly represented people throughout the African American community pro bono. His legal expertise, that's noteworthy. His legal expertise and heart is for the community, and it reverberates throughout time, space, and place. Next, we have Miss Felicia Ragland. Affectionately known as Fee. Fee was a basketball player, a basketball phenomenon of Tulare. Her resume is impressive. Check this out. She was inducted into the Oregon State Hall of Fame and won the three-point shooting contest at college. Felicia is the first woman from the Central Valley to play professional basketball in the WNBA, ending her career with the Houston Comets. And I was fortunate enough to play with her. She was way better than me, but it was nice to still be on the court with her. Mr. Charles Parker. He's got the crowd's love. Charles Parker he's the founding director of the Tulare Kings County's Mass Choir and professor at the College of Sequoias. Whoop whoop for the choir. Charles's creative insight and ingenuity has brought style and grace to the music community in the Central Valley. Thank you. Dr. Darlene McClure. Darlene is a retired business professor at the College of Sequoias for more than 20 years. Her innovation and creativity has inspired a movement and recruitment of dynamic professional African Americans to Tulare County. She is the founder of the Black Student Council on the COS campus, and that is still in operation today. And in lieu of Dr. Morris wasn't able to make it today, so I'll read his information. He's a noted and respected professor of English at the College of Sequoias. He was the first African-American head of the department at the college and on the Visalia City Unified School District. Mr. Milton has imparted a spirit of academic achievement in the Central Valley that is commendable. Can we clap for him? And lastly, but definitely not least, is the Tulare County Alliance of African American Women. This is a collaboration of African American women created by Dr. Juanita Alexander in 1996 to foster relationship, community awareness, and to embrace interracial race relationships. Receiving this award today is Gwinnett Eitman. Please be reminded that Tulare County produces some all-star people, and we're from a great place. And these people, and some of you, are a part of what makes us so wonderful. So let's give them a round of applause. I don't need to do that.
If we would just hold it, just one group picture, please. Right there. And the photographer got it? All right.
For the video? First of all, doesn't work. This is like a Cadillac, America's finest. This is Tulare County's finest. Can you give them a round of applause? That's right. They deserve it. They deserve it. They deserve it. Every one of them, they deserve it. They deserve it. They deserve it. One of the things that New Life Ministries wants to accomplish as a part of our goal is to bring back the love. Bring back the love. Bring back the love. Not that cheap stuff. Oh, I know him, I know her. No, it's time for us to take it to another level. It's time for us that are part of churches, be the church. If whatever you are, you have value. And what we have discovered is there is tremendous, great people in Tulare County. Yes. And they're coming here all the time. More and more is coming. And we have got to put it to the test to understand something. Maybe we need to check out our mental health. Huh? I had depression so bad in 2017 with the loss of my daughter that I couldn't even talk to people. I just didn't know how to handle it. Oh, I have the Holy Spirit in me, but my mind couldn't let go. What I have found out, yes, he's delivering. I love the song that the Mississippi Mass Choir sang. He's a keeper, and he kept me. And I'm here to tell you, we need to love a little bit more. The reason why we gave the award to the Alliance of Women, because we had an opportunity to evaluate how continuous they are in doing what they do. No matter who comes and who marches, they do it. And they make it open to everybody. Black people are not monolithic. That means you know one, you know them all. We're different. Go back to Africa and see how many different tribes is over there. Don't a whole bunch of them have nothing to do with each other. But we're different in America. We got the spirit of freedom. And that's why the Alliance got the award. And I want to close this out by saying, I want you to see this reflection of who we are.
There's a world at war, caught in suffering, silent casualties. Oh God, grant us peace. In these sleepless nights, I can hardly breathe. Despite brutality, I know that we'll be free. I know that we'll be free. So let the light in, keep it shining. Let it break into the darkness. All the love dares us to see. We'll all be free. In these desperate times, love will hold us here. Love will join our hands, teach us to have no fear. So we lay our head down. Yeah, let the light in, keep it shining. Let it break into the darkness. All the love dares us to see. We'll all be free. So let the light in, keep it shining. Let it break into the darkness. All the love dares us to see. We'll all be free. We'll be free, free, free. We'll all be free. We'll be free, free, free. We'll all be free. We'll be free, yeah. Free. We'll all be free. We'll be free, yeah. We'll all be free. We are free. We'll all be free. We are free. Free. We'll all be free. Let the light keep it shine. Let it break into the darkness. All the love dares us to see. We'll all be free. So let the light keep it shining. Let it break into the darkness. All the love dares us to see. We'll all be free. We'll all be Tell the lovers, tell the prisoners, tell the jailers, everybody. Tell the world, tell everybody, we'll all be free.
One more time. I need you. You need me. We're all
It is His will.
It is His will that every need be supplied. You are important to me. I need you to survive.
Tell your neighbor.
You are important to me. I need you to survive.
This is beautiful, New York. Let's do it one more time. Come on, open your mouth and say, I need you.
I need you.
Let me hear you. You need me.
You need me.
For we're all
a part of God's body.
stand with me.
Stand with me.
Agree with
Time when preachers get a crowd like this, they want to take an offering. if we at New Life Ministries were after money, we'd have charged you to come to this. Was it free? Is Christ free? In closing, I want you to know that collaboration, teamwork, and unity, when we give it a half a chance, we can do great things. This morning I woke up with Psalms 118, I think it was 34. We worry about the past so much, we just give up the day ahead of us. The Bible says this is the day that the Lord has made. And we to be glad and rejoice. Give the Lord a hand clap of praise. Rejoicing is a part of our tradition. If he was able to get us out of slavery, you think he can't get us past this election? We are not a political organization. We are a charitable organization. We exercise our Christianity by doing things. I want to let you know that your gift bag that you got, and I was just educated recently by a city councilman, I don't know who that is, that the swag bag is no longer called the swag bag. It's called the drip. The drip bag that you got today, in it is some information I want you to take home and take a look at and process. One of the flyers tells you what our organization is doing currently. Another piece of information tells you about our plan to get your information, your perspective, your conclusions about what we need in Tulare County, to express it through surveys that we're conducting countywide. In that, everything we've seen today represents a little bit of everybody. You understand? And that's what it takes. It takes a little bit of everybody to make somebody have a voice that can be heard. We have dedicated ourselves to try to formulate that voice to get things improved for African Americans particularly. We serve everybody. My church is a multiracial church. So it's not just a black church, it's a church. And the community is the same thing, that's right. And we need you to support us by participating in the opportunity that you would have to participate. I know that there's a lot of you that got money, but it's hidden money. You know, it's money that you save and to take with you when you leave here. We're not worried about tomorrow, we're worried about today. We got to start today, forgiving one another. I had to forgive all the pastors at a pastor's meeting I called to get them together, to encourage them to support us. The first thing I did was I apologized to them for not being involved with them. Having been mad at them up and down over the years on how things go about with the members, all are rotating chairs. They go from church to church. That's the truth. So there's no need of us claiming they mine. They belong to God. And I need to work with all of you. And I want to know where you work with us. The barbershop in Tulare is one of our partners. One of the flyers shows you all of the organizations and groups in Tulare County that are partnering with us. We're getting to know each other, getting to work together, doing things. And on those flyers, it shows you who they are. It's no mystery. Ain't no secret club. Everything is done in the light. And you can find out who they are. And one of our partners is the barbershop. You saw the movie about barbershop, didn't you? We transpire a lot of information at the barbershop. I don't know what you girls do at the beauty shop, but the barbershop talk a lot of stuff. Well, they find out who died yesterday and sometimes who's going to die tomorrow. So anyway, there's indication, there's a pamphlet in the bag that shows you that they have these black boxes that the people who patronize there fill out the surveys. If your organization, your church want to participate, support us, to help us get this information, to develop this voice, to improve things, call us. The information's in your bag. We'll get you a black box and show you how we work it. We have the key. Nobody can open it up. You don't put your name on it. We don't want to know your name. We want to know what you think and what you feel. And so, therefore, please be prayerful about this because it's time. It's time. And you know what? If you like, what about a lunch? Was this a nice lunch today? Yeah. Good food, good music, good fellowship, good education. And let's give it one more time for Mrs. Jackson. She's something. Would you guys like to have her come back and do some more things? Please support us, help us, encourage us. We'll tell you how we can do that. We can get more people coming here to help us grow and help our grandchildren grow better, equipping them to survive the things that have almost killed and destroyed us. We can help make a difference. So that's the end of what I want to say. Grady gave me the sign. Just like all good kids, they tell you when you ought to be quiet. But just like good dads are, we do it.
God bless. See you later. Goodbye.